Welcome to Concrete Block, the podcast where we dive into the latest news and current events shaping our world. I'm your host, Walter. Today, we're going to explore a developing story that's making waves globally. The United States and Israel have launched attacks on Iran, sparking widespread condemnation and fears of escalation. At the center of this controversy is Spanish Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez, who has refused to support the military action and has denied permission for the use of joint Spanish-U.S. military bases. Sánchez has been vocal in his criticism of the U.S.-Israeli strikes, describing them as unjustified, dangerous, and outside international law. His stance has drawn praise from some quarters, but also attracted criticism from others, including U.S. President Donald Trump. In a surprising move, Trump threatened to cut off all trade with Spain, citing the country's refusal to meet NATO spending targets and its opposition to the Iran war. The Spanish Prime Minister remains defiant, saying that his country's position on the war is clear: no to war. He drew parallels with the 2003 Iraq War, which he said had unleashed a wave of insecurity and pain across the continent. Sánchez's stance has been supported by other European leaders, including French President Emmanuel Macron, who expressed solidarity with Spain in the face of Trump's threats. As the situation continues to unfold, we'll be keeping a close eye on developments. The European Union has weighed in, with several officials expressing support for Spain's position and warning against violations of international law. The UN Special Envoy to Palestine, Francesca Albanese, has also praised Sánchez's stance, saying that Europe deserves better than to be complicit in a system that kills children and protects those who profit from their blood. We'll continue to monitor this story and bring you updates as more information becomes available. For now, it's clear that the Iran war has sparked a deepening divide between European nations and the United States. The consequences of this conflict are still unclear, but one thing is certain: the world is watching and the stakes are high. We'll be right back with more of today's top news on Concrete Block. Welcome back to Concrete Block. We're diving into a complex and sensitive topic that's been making headlines around the world. The ongoing conflict between the U.S., Israel, and Iran has sparked intense debates about the use of military force, international law, and the role of global leaders in shaping foreign policy. To break it down, the U.S. has launched a series of attacks on Iranian targets, citing concerns over national security and the need to prevent imminent threats. However, critics argue that these actions exceed the president's authority and fail to comply with international law. The War Powers Resolution of 1973 is being invoked, which requires the president to report regularly to Congress and obtain specific authorization for military operations. It's essential to examine the various perspectives on this issue. Some experts argue that the U.S. has the right to self-defense, while others contend that the attacks are unjustified and may lead to further escalation. The killing of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, has also raised questions about the legality of targeted assassinations. As we navigate this complex landscape, it's crucial to consider the potential consequences of these actions on global stability, regional security, and the lives of innocent civilians. We must strive for a nuanced understanding of the issues at play, acknowledging the valid concerns and arguments on all sides. The international community is watching closely, with many countries expressing concerns about the conflict's implications for global governance, human rights, and the rule of law. As the situation continues to unfold, it's essential to prioritize diplomacy, dialogue, and a commitment to finding peaceful solutions that respect the sovereignty and dignity of all nations involved. Welcome back to Concrete Block. As we wrap up today's show, let's dive into the latest developments in the escalating conflict in the Middle East. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has vowed to keep a cool head amidst the growing tensions following a public castigation by President Donald Trump. The U.S. president criticized Starmer for not providing sufficient support for American strikes on Iran, drawing parallels between the current situation and the leadership of Winston Churchill. Starmer has maintained that any British military action must have a viable, thought-through plan, and has tempered his initial refusal to allow UK bases to be used by the US. The Prime Minister has since permitted limited defensive strikes from these bases, following Iranian attacks on neighboring countries. Despite this, Trump's comments have sparked a heated debate in the UK, with critics on both sides of the political spectrum weighing in on Starmer's decision. On one hand, opponents on the left argue that Starmer should condemn the military action outright, while those on the right, including opposition leaders Kemi Badenoch and Nigel Farage, believe he should offer more robust support to the US. Meanwhile, Starmer has emphasized the importance of Britain's special relationship with the US, citing the sharing of intelligence, joint military operations, and American planes flying from British bases as evidence of this partnership. As the situation continues to unfold, it remains to be seen how the UK will navigate its role in the conflict. With HMS Dragon, an air defense destroyer, set to deploy to the region alongside additional helicopters with counter-drone capabilities, Britain's military presence is likely to increase. The British government must balance its commitment to regional stability with the need to avoid further escalation. That's all for today's Concrete Block. Remember to like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, stay informed.